Hey guys, it's Kevin Dermott. I'm here in our cemetery, and why am I in our cemetery? Because it's time for a new episode of It's Haunted. That is the series where we come up with a ghost story on the spot at a location and film it as it comes to us. And check out this new one I did today. It is called The Devil's Path. Let's check it out. The story of what happened to George Montano in 1981 started in this building, but it did not start way back in 1981. It actually started earlier. In 1921, there was an exorcism in this building. At that time, it was the Madison family that lived here. It was Mary Madison, who had started acting strange for a while. She talked about hearing noises and voices in this yard here. Noises in that building over there. And then she would hear voices. Her behavior started to become abnormal, and eventually she had an exorcism in this building here. Her husband, John Madison, well, he survived, but during that exorcism, the two priests involved and Mary Madison all perished. That was back in 1981. Nobody really remembers much about what happened there. Okay guys, 1981, George Montana experienced similar things as Mary Madison, started hearing noises, and he would often be found in this building. This is not the main house on the property, this is just a building on the property. And he would be in this building quite often, just spending time by himself. And he too started behaving irrationally, started behaving in a way that people would question his sanity. But as it turns out, it doesn't seem likely that he was insane. There was something else that had happened. Something long forgotten on this property had got to him. It's the same entity that had taken over Mary Madison, had taken over George Montgomery. And he left this property abruptly. And what happened next was a chase by the police after a murder, and they chased him from this property. We'll bring you to the trail of the chase and tell you what happened next. George Montana was chased through this field right here. This is the path he took, right through this field. The police chased him all the way. He was being chased down for murder, which was not like him. He was a mild-mannered person according to everybody, but one day they say he snapped. And it wasn't actually one day, because he had been acting strange for a while, but it seemed to everybody that he snapped. Only his wife was the one who had an idea of what it was. She had experienced some of the same stuff on the property, and everybody else thought he was some deranged, crazy murderer. Because of what he did, he had split a man's head open with an axe, then chopped up his body parts, and found on his property. And then the police chased him through this field into those woods back there. The police continued to chase him through these yards all along while the homeowners watched, as news had gone around the town about George and what had happened. And then they went along from these backyards on these properties into the woods, and all along the police chased George through the woods. And this is where the police report begins to get strange. The police are running, chasing him through these woods, and both officers that were chasing him swear that when he was running, his mouth was closed, but they could hear groans and growls coming out. And he wasn't even opening his mouth. And the other odd thing that they reported was that he was disappearing in and out, like he was blinking, almost like a strobe light is how they described it. So they were chasing him through these woods, still had him in sight, but their claim is that while they were chasing him in these woods, he was running in front of them and he would disappear, then reappear. And they followed him all the way through these woods, and they did come to one location. And that is where the story ends. But that's also one of the most interesting things, and we will take you there. As the police were chasing George through these woods, one of the things they said in the report was, as he was disappearing, they could still hear growls, even though they couldn't see anything. And as they came out of this clearing, they followed him all the way over these tracks into this river. And that's where George disappeared, right in front of their eyes, and the chase was over. It ended here, right at the bank of this river. George disappeared and was never seen again. Now, that might be the end of that day where George escaped the police, never to be seen again. But along the path that he took from the building of the property where he was found with the remains of the gentleman he had killed, where he was pursued by the police, the whole entire path through the woods all the way down to this river at night, 3 a.m., people can hear the growls and they can see this image, and they could hear strange noises and howling, and all along this path from the building where he was found with the remains of the body and chased from the police, through the fields, through the yards of the people who lived behind his house, and into the woods all the way down to the river. You can see this image at night of a demon running through that path, and you can hear the strange sounds that the police heard that very same day and that they had in their report. George Montana may be gone, but whatever took over his mind is still around. Alright guys, that was the new episode of It's Haunted. We call this episode The Devil's Path. I thought of it on Halloween as we went to the park and saw this our first original location, and I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but I did not fill out any ideas in my head until we filmed on the spot today. Everything was spontaneous, even adding the different scenes that we went through the woods, and even that down by the river where we filmed. That was all thought of on the spot today. So anyway, guys, hope you liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And guys, happy haunts. See you on the next video, and subscribe to our channel. Bye, guys.